All right, he's off. Gabe's out. He's gonna go grab the.
What's that? The stout? Yeah. You want to leave it here, you said? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no problem.
All right. So
Yeah,
Gabe,
you'll get 2 samples out there. Yeah.
we're sending Gabe out there on a tour. So this we're actually showing. I'm gonna move this so you can see what he's seeing, and if you want to comment on it.
Oh yeah.
you can.
Yeah, sure.
So again, I don't know. We're not gonna hear anything the guy's saying, by the way. But Gabe, we're just sending him on a tour because
So you can see the facility
you
and
can see the
everything.
facility exactly. You know. So he's kind of going over the whole thing right now. So what are those barrels that you're seeing right there? Those are the ones you're doing like the barrel aged cast stuff, or?
Yeah. So we those particular barrels that are right behind the tour guide, the 8 on the right, the two higher rows,
Yep.
and those are red wine barrels from a winery in North Jersey. It's Alba Vineyards. Are those where those wine barrels are from?
Oh wow.
They were used for our 20th anniversary beer, and they're
Okay.
empty. They're empty currently. They don't have anything in them right now. They're just kind of just on display. We'll probably get one more use out of them at some point.
How many times can you actually use those barrels though?
For the notes that you get out of them, so wherever we buy them from, whether they're wine or whiskey, you'll get like definitely 2 good uses out of them.
Okay.
After the second use, they sort of become neutral, and neutral barrels are still good because you can use them for sours as well.
Gotcha.
And so there's still oak, so you still get some oak notes out of it, but you won't necessarily get wine or whiskey notes out of it, or rum. Actually, the other 8 barrels that are over there next to the wine barrels, they are Peruvian Rum Barrels.
Ooh.
And we used that for a beer that we did a couple years ago, and now they're just kind of on display. Some of the tables that are in our tasting room are the Peruvian Rum Barrels. This one that the computer's sitting on is used for. It was a Peruvian Rum Barrel that we used once for a beer, and couldn't really get another use out of it. And
Okay.
Probably be the same with all those other rum barrels eventually, but as of now, they make a nice display for people to see on a tour. And there were some other barrels that, red wine barrels that we used. We did like a darker sour beer, almost like a Flemish,
Okay.
like a Flemish red, that kind of like Duchess de
Yeah.
Bourgogne. We made a beer similar to that anyway, and we just put it into barrels last night.
Wow.
And we put in addition to the sour, we added some black currant puree as well. So the currants have like a nice tart characteristic to them, and that's going to sit in the barrels until probably the fall, I guess. So that'll sit in there for a while.
Holy shit.
So that'll be a sour beer that'll be in a big bottle that we'll release later this year too.
Okay. It looks like he's describing the actual barrels, the system. Or
Yeah.
maybe
Yep. Yeah.
He's talking about that right now.
Yep.
I'm actually surprised Gabe has never been on a tour before. I mean,
He's never been on a tour?
I don't think this is actually probably his first brewery tour.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. He, I mean, again, he said he's not a big beer drinker, but he just don't mind what I'm doing here. It was a little OCD. I gotta get this in the center, otherwise it bothers me. But yeah, so I mean, like, when I was telling him I'm coming hanging out here today, he was like, "Oh yeah, definitely, I want to come and hang out." 'Cause
Yeah.
He's never been to. I don't think he's ever been to a brewery before.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
One of his first times here. I mean, I've been on brewery tours. I mean, I've walked around the brewery with you, and also, you know, and other times where I just come to the River Horse.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
prior to the virtual tour, which is amazing. But so they're going on to the next stop here.
They'll go to the Brew House first.
Yeah. So this is like extra commentary here, guys. Look at this.
Yeah, right? Yeah, the first part, you guys can't hear hear what the tour guide's saying, but the first part is just a little introduction on the brewery itself, the history, kind of what we went over earlier in the show.
Yep.
And now the tour guide, Chris is his name. He's moving on to the brew house. He'll take you into our mill room where all of our grain is, most of our grain is stored, and kind of the whole process of how brewing gets started.
That tube is coming
That
out
is
there.
a grain auger.
Okay.
So it's a basically like a 4 or 5 inch PVC pipe that goes from that wall on the other side of that wall, which you'll probably go into, which Chris the tour guide will probably go into. There's a silo on the other side of that wall, which all the grain is kept for whatever brew is coming up next that day. And there's an auger. You ever see what the inside of an auger looks like? Especially if it's like a big corkscrew.
Yeah.
And it's flexible, but that's what's inside that pipe. And so it's corkscrew, so it just spins, and as it spins, it brings all the grain from that silo, the bottom of the silo on the other side of that wall, up through that pipe, and it's all crushed, and then it goes into the kettle, and it augers it into the kettle. So that's
What is that right there that they use?
those are just samples of hops and malt, just to people can taste them or just see what they look like.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't recommend tasting the pelletized hops. But
No. It's great when you drop it in.
But the grain actually tastes okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you wanted to eat a whole piece of barley, it actually tastes pretty good.
Gabe, I don't know if you can hear me, but you should sniff some hops. Sniff some hops. I'm personally less interested in the beer, more interested in mechanical equipment. Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. The whole process of brewing beer is amazing. And the mechanical equipment that's part of that, is also quite awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot less to make a mead than it does to make a beer.
Yeah.
In that sense.
For sure. And both, all interesting processes. Stuff is done differently. He's got some hops in his hand. Yeah.
Sniffing hops.
But it's cool. All the processes are very, whether you're making beer or making cider or making mead, whatever it is, it's all very cool. Just different processes and things that the way people do things, and even differences between small breweries and large breweries are insane. Just how technical everything gets, and how advanced all the machines get, and the more the bigger breweries you go to versus smaller breweries like us, or even smaller, which is even more manual of a process. But it's they get it done one way or another. It's just different ways to do it. And it's cool to see the different ways that people are doing it to achieve the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
based
like
on their means.
We were talking about this when we first last week, but Alaskan Brewing Company. I was telling you how Alaskan Brewing Company uses all their spent grain.
Right. Yeah.
You guys actually take the spent grain and ship it off to a farmer.
Yep.
Whereas Alaskan Brewing Company, since they're landlocked, not landlocked, but they are. They can't get in by car or only get in by boat or plane. They can't get in by car. They're actually reusing their grain as fuel to brew the wort.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah.
Again, the mechanics of it is just pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
And the graffiti is awesome. I'll be honest with you. I love that.
The graffiti is awesome. Yeah, we have a good relationship with a couple of artists, a couple of graffiti artists that are based out of Jersey City.
Okay.
Up in North Jersey. They have a whole warehouse in North Jersey that they rent out to showcase all different art pieces, and it's this huge warehouse, and they have pieces all throughout the entire building, inside and outside of the building as well.
Okay.
Which is really cool. But we've known these guys for a long time. They've been doing it for a while, and they did usually just a couple of small pieces on canvas graffiti art for us that are hanging in our tasting room. And when we moved, that was when we were in Lambertville, and then when we moved to our Ewing facility here, they decided hey, we really want to take this opportunity. You got blank cement walls all over
Oh,
the place,
yeah.
cinder block walls all over the
I
place.
mean, why the hell not at that point?
to tag up your walls with all River Horse, themed stuff, and they did it, and they did an awesome job. And it was only a few days it took them to do everything. And there's some more graffiti on other walls that you probably won't see on this tour, but they did a great job with everything that they did in here.
Oh,
It's
wow.
pretty cool. Yeah. So they're in the mill room right now.
Okay.
So that silo that's right behind the tour guide, Chris, it's called a grist mill. And you can see another similar PVC pipe that's a little bit smaller that's leading to the top of that grist mill.
Gotcha.
Connected to the other side of that is the mill itself. So the mill is what crushes all of the malted barley, and
Makes it easier for when you're actually brewing the wort to actually process the sugar.
yeah, you have to crush it all because it exposes all of those sugars that are inside the malted barley,
Yep.
and all the sugars immediately go into solution, and that will later ferment into alcohol. So that's where most of the sugars come from. That create that alcohol, and then depending on how much malted barley you use, it's how strong your beer is going to be. And then there's
Right.
still different varieties of malt as well. But our system specifically, whatever beer we're planning on brewing, will add all of the malt into that grist case, and that's the beer that we're going to be brewing next.
Okay.
So I don't think there's currently anything in that right now, but probably tomorrow morning there will be something milled in for that to start brewing on Monday morning.
Okay.
We usually mill in for something a few hours before we start actually brewing it, and then we just kind of like piggyback off of each brew as the day goes on. We'll do like 4 brews in a day.
Okay.
So we just kind of keep constantly milling in. Since it's a Saturday, Saturday's our only day that we're down in production completely, so there's nothing going to be in there right now.
So what is he talking about there? That is the.
So those are the 2 kettles. The
wort
one
brew.
on the right of your screen is the mash tuns. That's where all of the malt goes into originally. That's the beginning of the brewing process.
Right.
Where all of the malt that you saw in the grist case silo in the other room gets augered above where the camera is, and then into the mash tun, along with 180-degree water.
And that ends up creating the wort that you're going to be.
Once everything's all mixed in, that creates the wort, and then it gets drained out through the bottom of the kettle, and then over into the lauter tun, which is the vessel on the other side, on the left of your screen.
Okay.
And
Thing with the door open, that you're saying.
the
Sorry,
kettle
my left. You're right.
on the left of the screen. His right. Yeah.
Got it.
And that's the lauter tun on the other side on the left side of the screen. The tour guide's right, and that is where you actually bring the wort up to a boil.
Gotcha.
And there's hop additions that go into the lauter tun as well. There's different hop additions depending on what beer you're making. There's usually an addition after 30 minutes and after 60 minutes, and depending on what you're doing, just whatever flavor you're trying to achieve. It's in the beginning, towards the beginning of the boil, it's all more bittering hops, and then as the boil goes on towards the end of the boil, it's more for aroma, a little bit of bittering hops as well, but more aroma than anything. And so he's describing that whole process right now. And then once he's just describing the whole process of all the sugars are breaking down into solution, things like that, and then once he's done in that area, he'll take us into the cellar to show the next stop, the next phase of when wort becomes beer, and then when it starts fermenting, things like that. This is all this equipment that you're seeing. This is all original equipment, or not original, but all equipment that we brought from Lambertville to this facility. So we've bought new fermenters since we've been here, but the whole brew house where he is right now is all equipment that we moved.
Oh, wow.
Moved ourselves from one location to the new one.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I love the fact that people are using the viewfinders right away.
it's great.
Yeah, people are educating themselves at this moment. Matter of fact, I haven't looked at them yet, but I kind of want to look at the hippo one.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, some pretty cool facts about hippos actually.
Yeah.
I think hippos can hold their breath underwater for like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. The education is done.
Yeah.
It's quick.
A lot of people, especially people that have been here before, they tend to scroll through it very, very quickly. So they already know. But they're in a rush to drink.
They're in a rush to have a pint. All right, I'm grabbing another piece of pizza. You want another one? A piece of pizza?
Yeah, sure.
Grab it. Cold pizza. Feel about like I'm back in college. People just walking behind us, checking all this stuff out.
Yeah, right.
So he's continuing the tour. You can see the boxes of the triple horse on the side there.
Yep.
All that sort of stuff. That's the one thing I was hoping to. I wish you guys had like food trucks out there.
I know. That's another thing that that makes, with Jersey specifically, that makes it difficult for us to do.
They won't let you have food trucks?
Not all the time. It has to be a private event, and
Really?
it has to be a private event, and
Uh-oh.
and funds have to be going to charity.
Oh, I think we lost the feed.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, he's back. He's back. All right. They're pouring him beer. I think he needs a beer. That's what he needs. It's actually kind of funny commentating on like Gabe's process through the brewery. Uh-oh.
The toaster. The metal used is all stainless for all the tanks. Everything, all the tanks, the lauter tun, mash tun, and all the fermenters as well. And most of our bottling line equipment is all stainless.
Yep.
It sees a lot of chemicals for cleaning, and stainless is the only thing that can stand up. Like a higher grade stainless can stand up to all the chemicals without corroding.
Do you think he's gonna lose like video? He's on his phone, right? So he's using his data.
He shouldn't. It's usually pretty good.
I wonder why he's like
Pretty good data even.
Yeah. I think Gabe wants a stout. Yeah, he's taking a stout. Look at that.
Yep. There he is.
It didn't take much.
There he is.
Oh, geez. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that, man. 13 viewers. Cheers to you, guy. Yeah. Dan's a good guy. He's from England. Commander Human.
Oh yeah.
Can't go wrong with that. I met him. We met up with him at PAX. My man was the feed. Oh, there we go.
He shouldn't be going further than that. He won't be going more into the into the cellar.
One way or another. It's just it's a way to show
Should have given
what
him
you
the
guys
Wi-Fi
are.
password,
That's all right.
but data signal should be okay in there. But,
Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But-
coming through nice. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see any problem with it. It's just every once in a while.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, Toaster. Appreciate that, mate. Yeah, definitely give a so command to Dan. Awesome streamer. If you haven't looked, check that command name, man. You gotta check him out.
Nice.
So, did anybody ever tell you the reason why the name was originally named River Horse? I know it's because of the hippos. But why a hippo?
So, a name for a hippo in Africa is actually a river horse.
Right.
So, it started from that. That's part of the reason. Another reason is because especially in ancient hieroglyphics, the brewing process, whenever it was depicted in hieroglyphics, a hippo was always present in hieroglyphics.
Really? Why?
And also, they believe that the hippo was a symbol of sustenance and fertility,
Okay.
and
That
it was
makes
always
sense.
present when depicting the brewing process. And so
Wow.
so that was always present. And in Africa, hippos were always called river horse.
Gotcha.
And when the brewery started in Lambertville, we were right along the Delaware Canal.
Right. That makes
So
sense.
I think the original owners figured we're right along Delaware Canal and had all these other facts they already knew about hippos for, I don't know where they learned them from, but one way or another they learned about it.
Right.
And so they came out with, let's do River Horse Brewing Company. I guess it had a good name, good sounding name to it, clean and just
Oh yeah.
not a complicated name anyway, and
No.
gets people asking about it. And so it's,
I mean, it's the first time I've ever inquired why the name, of
Yeah.
River Horse. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. I never even realized it was like based on like in Egypt they had like it was associated to both those attributes of like
yeah,
food and fertility and
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, so now he's
He's at the fermenters, right? So
he's by the fermenters right now. What's interesting too about just as far as growth as a company, which it's pretty cool. Like I said, we moved most of our equipment and most of our tanks from Lambertville to this facility. Eventually, when we needed more of a capacity, we sold some smaller fermenters and replaced them with bigger fermenters. So
it makes sense, especially with the capacity. You want to up the level of capacity
Right.
for your new facility.
yeah, and without actually taking up more space in our warehouse. So like it's basically almost the same footprint on the warehouse floor
Oh, okay.
for a tank. It's maybe like a foot in diameter more in space, but it's not really that much space to sacrifice. But the tanks are taller, they're wider. The legs, where the legs are actually mounted in the ground, they're not taking up a lot more space, but it's a lot more volume in that tank. So we went from, we only had 40 barrel fermenters. That was the only size fermenters that we had in Lambertville. We moved all those fermenters to Ewing, and I think when we moved here, we bought 2 more 40 barrel fermenters. And then eventually we sold 4 of our 40 barrel fermenters and replaced them with 4 100 barrel fermenters.
Oh wow. So it's like 60. It's upping that like.
So it's 2.5 times the size
Yeah.
per fermenter for each one. So that upped our volume, and we're looking to do that with 2 more fermenters in the summer.
Oh wow.
So
you said 800. How many gallons of beer per year?
we do this
18,
time of year it's like 18,000 barrels a year.
So after this change, how much would it be?
I mean, after that change, we would add another 120 barrels worth of volume.
Okay.
And granted, we'll start to slow down after come like July is when we start to see a little
Right.
bit of like a taper off a little bit, and then start to slow down up until December, and then we start to get busy again. So summer's the busiest time of year, but we're always a season behind or a season ahead of what the season actually is. So we start brewing our summer beer in February, and even though it doesn't get released until May, we start brewing it then because we make a ton of it in the course of 4 or 5 months. So
Right.
we have to make a lot of it up front and send it to our distributors before, and they need to have a sufficient supply of it before they release it, because that way they can guarantee that they're not going to run out of it. It's more just for momentum so
Okay.
we can't just send them 100 cases and then they run out, and then accounts ask them, when are you going to get more summer blonde? Like, oh, well,
Right.
not till next week. It's like, okay, well then I'll get something else, and then they lose interest. So we need to build them up, build their inventory up, build our distributors' inventory up, so that way they have roughly 5,000 cases to release with, and that way that gives them enough of a buffer. And then we just slowly, after they have that buffer and they start releasing, then we just feed them a constant 400 cases, 500 cases a week for the next 3 months or so.
Oh wow.
And goes the same thing with kegs too. Same idea behind it. But
Is this the bottling line that we're looking at?
this
right
is the
here?
bottling line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first machine on your right that the tour guide is standing right in front of is the bottle rinser. So bottles get fed onto the conveyor and then go through the bottle rinser. The bottles get grabbed and flipped upside down and rinsed with water. And the main purpose of that is just to cool the bottles down. The bottles are already sanitized when they get delivered, so it's nothing to do with sanitation really, but it's just to rinse out the bottles. Rinse out the bottles and also cool them down, because the bottles will fill a lot better if they're cool.
Okay.
If they're dry, and especially in the summertime, if they're a little bit warm, trailers of bottles get delivered. We get 90,000 bottles delivered a week.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
So it's like 3,700 cases worth of bottles, and but they're sitting on trailers for a day or two at a time. Each time we get a delivery. So if those bottles are hot, if they don't go through a bottle rinser that cools the bottles down, the bottles will, when they get filled with beer, the beer is just going to foam, and we're going to have a lot of beer loss. So that's the primary purpose of the rinser, is to cool the bottles down, so that way we get good fills and don't waste too much beer.
So Toaster's also asking, is there anything you can say about the fermenters and stuff are made? I don't mean stuff are made. Is it all mechanized, or does some poor guy have to hand weld it all together?
They are welded. We do get all of our anything that's still, so anything that doesn't have moving parts, we actually get manufactured in China, believe it or not, because you'll get the same quality of a tank in China that you will in the U.S., but you'll pay 4 times as much for a tank in the U.S. as you will in China.
Okay.
Anything with moving parts, I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't. We would get in the U.S. anything with gears or anything like that, but just as far as a fermenter, just a tank.
It's just stainless steel.
It's just stainless steel welded together. That's bought from China. We have a manufacturer in China that we've had a relationship with for a few years, and the owners of the company have actually flown out to the U.S. specifically to visit River Horse, and so
cool.
And there's been like 6 of them,
Great.
6 of the higher ups of the company that makes our stainless steel tanks, and they've been out to visit our facility, and they're great, accommodating us and seeing what our needs are and everything like that. But yeah, it's all stainless steel as far as the material goes, and I don't know if it's all hand welded. I assume. I mean, there's not much welding involved in a fermenter. There's welding to attach the legs to the vessel itself.
Right.
All the tanks are jacketed, so there's a thin layer in between where glycol runs through the coolant to keep the tanks cool. But I don't think there's a whole lot of welding that is involved in creating those tanks. It's more just the metal and forming the metal to the shape of the tank.
Okay. He's still talking about the bottom line here, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So we moved down. We went past the bottle, the filler and the crowner. That puts the crowns on the bottles, and then now he's in front of the labeler.
Yep. Oh. He must be in a dark spot, or what was it?
Yeah, he might be. The machine's pretty cool. It's a very old labeler, but when it's maintained well, it runs very efficiently, and it's we use glue for all of our bottles. We don't use labels that have already like a sticky like a press-on label. It's paper labels that are lithographed, and they get a thin layer of glue applied to the back of them, and they get pressed onto plates, and then the labels are grabbed off the plates by a couple of teeth, and then they get pressed onto the labels, or pressed onto the bottles. I mean.
Okay.
So it's a cool process to see the label running and everything, but it's is a very old school way of doing it, but it works. Works
Hey,
for
no,
us.
it works out well. But for cans, the cans you actually get printed up and they deliver you the cans.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, all with the label already in there, printed up.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
no need
It's
to
printed.
worry
It's
about.
printed right on the metal
Yep.
of the can. They come delivered on there without the tops on them, and then the tops get applied once they're filled. But yeah.
And actually, if you guys want to see what that was like, I actually on Twitter, I'll have to go see if I can find it, and I can show you the tweet. But if you go to our Twitter, Escape Time Twitter, you can actually go see the canning process. You know, because I posted the video.
Right.
That
Yeah.
I took the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So you want to see what that looks like? You know, that's.
Looks like they're heading back to the tasting room.
Oh,
now.
they're heading back to where we are. I'm gonna get Gabe's opinion on his first brewery tour. Oh, frozen.
Should be getting better as you get closer, I would assume.
Yeah. It might just be his phone. It could be worse. And they're coming in the door right now. I can see him walking. Yeah. Those are the I think those are cans or.
Yeah.
those are cans?
There's you can see actually like the 12 packs. Then there's some cans that were in the warehouse too throughout the tour.
Of course, Gabe the entire tour was the guy with the camera. Look at all those bottles.
There's my office.
That's your office.
That's
now?
my office. Yep.
Slam the door on him, see what he does. He's like, I can't
It's my
get in.
office. Yeah.
That's his office. Yeah. Your data was getting choppy there after a little bit. It was, yeah. I think so, yeah. Yeah. Oh, we can shut down if you want. It doesn't really matter. That's cool. Yeah. So what do you think of your first brewery tour?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thirsty now.
Did you look?
This makes me thirsty.
Yeah, right?
Oh man.
Makes me thirsty every day.
Yeah, working here. It's trouble right there.
Every day I think I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get done with work and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff and then
Right.
right around 3 o'clock, the day goes on and and you have to walk by
all the beer
by taps when you on your way out the door every day. It's like
becomes
maybe
trouble after a
just
while.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny because he's like, yeah, here's the percentage of ones that don't meet don't meet the quality of the 12 ounces.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you do with those? I was like, thirsty out my mouth. Put it down and says, are you hiring? He's like, SCBR. I was like,
You guys could probably take some home for sure.
Ah, man. That's funny as hell.
thirsty out. I saw a whole bunch of milk stats. I was like, are you hiring?
Can I take this home with me? Do you feel like you're educated eyes or whatever it is? Yeah. But this is your first brewery tour, so yeah. So what do you think of the whole process as he was explaining to you?
It's crazier than I thought it was for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, I knew the amount of ingredients could vary greatly based on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Doing that to you. You're doing the whole talking real fast there. So.
Yeah, so I thought the tour is awesome. It was, like I said, it's more to the effect of, I knew it had like the base 4 ingredients.
Right.
I knew you had to cook them, let them sit, mix them with some other shit, and then bottle
The technical terms.
The
Mix
technical
some
terms.
other shit.
it. But I mean, like,
Make some shit with some other shit, and then,
Right, but like-
and then you drink. And
and
it's
then
time
you
to
drink.
drink.
right, but like the actual process itself, the amount of equipment that it takes to do it correctly.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The byproducts, how they actually, the way you guys are doing it is completely awesome. How it benefits a local farmer, like to me, that's awesome. Like I never knew. I knew it had to be some kind of byproducts, but I didn't know what you would do with them. I mean, do you just bag it up and toss it on the curb type of thing?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it works out better as far as like the grain and like
The grain,
getting
the seed,
rid of the grain. Yeah, we
Right.
I mean, yeah, if we, it works out better for both of us, for both the brewery and the farmers, because the farmers get free feed for their cows, and they're mostly for their cows, and they give some to their pigs too if they have pigs. But so it works out well for them. I mean, all they have to do is pay the money, pay the fuel to pick it up, and at a time. But if we didn't have them picking it up for us, then we would have to pay for all the disposal fees to get rid of it.
Right, and that's a lot of grain.
That'd be a lot of money. Yeah,
A ton of grain.
in our busiest seasons, I mean, we put out, I'd say, in the around 15 to 20 tons a week, something like that, of grain. And it's it's wet grain, so it's it's wet. It's not all dry, but it's wet, so that adds a lot to the weight, and that would cost a lot. But instead, it takes
pretty
a
minimal.
half hour of one employee to help load a farmer, and the farmer benefits from it, and we
Honestly,
benefit from not having to pay for it.
That's
so it's
something
great.
I've never thought about, and how awesome that is that
Yeah.
you guys do that. Yeah, seriously, like that's crazy.
Yeah, it's cool.
But the process itself, like I mean, the 100-barrel ones versus the 40s and stuff, and what happens to the yeast, the dead yeast, the kind of just hanging out, and then recarbonizing everything.
Yep.
It was just more than I thought it was, honestly.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's complicated. To take it all in, it's the whole process, but it's cool. It's cool to you can wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
It's very.
Now I got
cool.
ideas for new beers now.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I got some ideas now.
for sure. For sure. Yeah.
I got better ideas for Crypt Mode the beer.
There you go.
It was interesting. Brad and I were talking about we came here. I was talking about doing this originally. When I was in Alaska Brewing Company, since they're landlocked, you can't get in by car.
Okay.
They actually they were shipping their grain by boat, because the only way you can get to Juneau, Juneau, where Alaskan Brewing Company is, by boat or by plane.
Right.
You can't drive there. There's roads there, and we have actually like pictures of like end of road.
Yeah.
You can't get anywhere else on this island. This is it. Right? You're done. They actually have a system that they take the spent grain and use it. They dry it out and they use it as fuel to cook the next beer.
Really?
Yeah. So instead of sending it
Sending it back to a
majority
farm,
of breweries do,
Right. Yeah.
Sending it to a farm, for cattle or whatever cows to eat. I mean, it's a great thing for them to eat, right? Because I mean, think of how great their milk tastes, So, right.
I've had beef that are beef
Grain-fed.
that are grain fed. Yeah, grain
grain-fed.
fed to beef cows from one of the farmers that picks up grain from us, and it's great. The beef is great, and then so I think it's awesome if you're able to do that. But in a situation like Alaskan Brewing Company, then it's
Got no choice.
way different. They can't do anything else. And like they can either they can send their grain to farms, but they're most of the time spending, paying the money or the farms would be paying the money to get it from that, they ship it onto a boat to do that.
It's a lot of cash, and
it's a lot of money involved. So
But
it's
I mean,
a much more efficient way to use the grain in their situation. But it's pretty cool.
But they're not. Obviously, we're not landlocked here in Jersey.
No, we're
So,
fine.
you're able to ship it out to different, cattle.
Yeah.
Farmers.
Oh, yeah.
Just do
And it's not
yeah.
freezing all the time either.
No, Juneau's actually not that bad. I was in Juneau for like 5-6 weeks when I was working, traveling a lot. It was beautiful up there. And if you guys have never been to Alaska at all, go to Alaska for Christ's sakes. But it's a good time. I do like it. But so you like your first tour?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Good, man.
I even asked the guy who did first thing I saw was the mural. First thing I saw as soon as we left that main area.
Oh yeah, the graffiti on the
Yeah,
back
I was
wall.
like, who did the mural?
Yeah.
He was like, oh, it's a guy that does. I was like, 'cause I know a guy that does murals,
Oh, okay.
and his
yeah.
murals, seriously, top of the line. You might know,
Who?
Will.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he did that.
Yeah. Oh, that's all he does.
Oh.
He is a pure genius of an artist.
Yeah. Nice.
Seriously, if you guys ever want anything painted, let me know. I'll try to get you connected with him because he's been all over now. He was doing a lot of murals. He works for an organization in Trenton.
Oh, okay.
The art organization.
Oh, very cool.
That was
Yeah.
doing like the art, the
awesome.
art nights.
Nice.
He was doing murals to kind of stop the BS that was being put on random walls. He's actually making like actual artistic murals and stuff with him and his crew.
That's cool.
He actually got commissioned to do stuff in Cali, so he was in Cali for a few weeks or a few months or so.
Right.
Came back. He's been in Connecticut recently doing some walls and murals and paintings for different organizations and companies and stuff.
That's great.
He's been working
Good
with
for him, man.
Yeah, he's been working with education companies that are more creative based.
Yeah. Yeah.
To say, hey, you have artists like feed their artistic talents. Don't just be like, oh, you're an artist and you can do websites. No, that's bullshit. Like artists don't really do websites. They
Right. Right.
and not everyone's gonna be in an art gallery.
Yeah.
To sell their paintings at $4,000 a pop or whatever it is.
Right. Right.
But he's been awesome. His brain is on some other, like he's like on an ethereal plane type of shit. Like
Yeah.
like he's nuts, absolutely nuts. But that's what I saw.
Watching these guys do the pieces in the back too,
Yeah.
it was cool because they videotaped a lot of it, and I think it's probably on their website. But
Yeah.
Green Villain's the name of the group, a couple of the artists together that do it. But it was cool seeing him do everything. It's just crazy. Like he just looks and he just like started drawing a couple little like lines here and there like for the background of it, and then all of a sudden he just wiped the whole wall, and it was.
Oh wow.
Ready to go.
It is what it is now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts watching
cool seeing
artists do like their work because like most people are trained from a left to right perspective of things.
Right.
Like artists will look at it from right to left, up to down to right, and then they'll do diagonal. They're like, all right, diagonally, I know it meets this space.
Right.
And they'll put in these little markers and stuff. In their head, they've had the whole thing drawn out already, like layer by layer.
Right. Right.
It's just awesome when you see stuff like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I even asked. I was like, he was like, yeah, we use the barter system pretty well here. I was like, yeah. I was like, they started from right to left, didn't they? Because I was looking at the art.
There was one thing, they were here for an event maybe a year and a half after we opened here, and all that stuff was already up there. And they had a stencil, Green Villain stencil, up on the left, upper left-hand corner of that wall that they got up on a ladder during the event and spray painted on the stencil Green Villain. Like they just like tagged it with Green Villain's name, but everything else was still up there. It was already up there for a while, and they're just like, oh, we have this stencil. We didn't put our name on it at all, and
nice.
they just kind of did it
They
for
were
us.
like,
And they're like, let's just do it real quick, and
Yeah.
That's awesome.
it was funny. Yeah.
Do you think that